Welcome into Brew Chat. I'm your host, Brady Lindquist. I'm here with the
Tap Traveler, Ryan Salsman.
And we have a guest today. We're back in the NLRE studio. It's been a while since we've been here, actually. Mm-hmm. It's been a really long time since Ryan's been here.
Yeah, probably a year or so.
Yeah, it's been a while. But we have a guest. This is going to be a little bit different type of episode today. Not quite as beer focused. There'll still be beer in there, right? But we have my really good buddy, best friend, Michael Bregel.
Wait a minute.
We started something here.
Just kidding.
It's on. It's on.
But we got Michael Bregel here, and why don't you? So I call him Bregs. Most people around here call him Bregs. So Bregs, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into some beer and we'll talk things.
No, geez. Thank you for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure. I've never been on the Brew.
You've never been on a Brew Chat?
Brew Chat. I've been mentioned a couple times. Or at least my printer has been mentioned.
Possibly, yeah. A few things, yeah.
It's an honor to be here, and I apologize that I'm derailing the focus of this glorious podcast a little bit further away from craft beer.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
No, I think that's fine.
It's about creatives. It's about making things and doing cool shit, right?
Yeah. I mean,
essentially,
I like to say craft beer adjacent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call it.
We'll get into it, but I mean, games are a big part of why people go to tap rooms and breweries, and it is applicable.
It really does fit in. And we do have a little bit of craft beer story in there as well. So we'll get to that. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Briggs.
Oh my gosh, that's a very open-ended question.
I know,
Brady.
I know most people are like, well, what do I say here? How far back do I go?
Well, I'm 33. I live in Minnesota. I'm a weird creative dude, and I like to create things. And my latest little creation is a card game called Wizards and Relics.
Wizards and Relics. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a Brew Chat. And we don't want to get too far away from beer, so let's at least crack into some beer.
I was thinking
exact same thing. Ryan, you want to grab that IPA? I know that.
Yeah, I like IPAs. I do like IPAs. This is Set. It's from Talking Waters and Omni Brewing Company. It's a West Coast IPA with Azaka Cairo, Idaho 7 Cryo.
Yep.
Thank you, Brady.
You forgot your laptop and did the research, did you? Ryan.
Idaho 7, Simcoe, and Mosaic hops.
Ooh.
So lots going on in here.
Lots going on. There you go. He's getting good at this whole job here.
Now, Brady, did you select these just for me?
I did, yes. I did. Well, so here's the thing. So I know Ryan's not huge into the hazy IPAs, so I figured I had to find a good West Coast IPA. And my friends at Talking Waters had made this awesome collab with Omni, and it hadn't been on the show yet, so figured that would be perfect. The other beer we have on here is going to be a coffee stout, and I know you like coffee. I know you like stouts, so yeah.
That's right up my alley.
That's where the decision kind of came in with
kind
these
of a
beers.
Spoiler alert there.
Yeah, sorry guys. didn't mean to do that. But
Well, that's music to my ears then.
So how did you get into craft beer?
let's just get straight to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's an important question. I never was a beer person. I like wine. I like red wines, like Merlots, like dry, the driest of the dry.
He always says the drier the better.
Drier the better.
That's not the way I do it, but
I like
fair
it all.
enough.
I like it all.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like the weird shit. And I think craft beer it just sounds cooler than regular beer. I definitely didn't. I think my uncle. When I was a little kid, I don't know. I was like 13. I don't know if I shouldn't be saying this. My uncle gave me a beer.
What's your uncle's name? Where does he live?
I'll keep him safe. But I loved it actually as a 13-year-old boy hanging out with his uncle, doing construction.
That was so cool.
It was super cool, and I legitimately enjoyed the taste. But just being...
You were like the only 13-year-old that legitimately liked the taste of beer.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm sure it was a Keystone crap or something. But I like really liked it. That didn't like sway me. I didn't drink beer. I don't know. I've never really been a beer person in my adult life.
So growing up, we went to the same school, spent a lot of time in high school together, and our whole friend group didn't drink. So
yeah,
we weren't beer people. I didn't get into beer until like 21, 22. And that was kind of, I think, for you as well. I mean, we just didn't really drink beer. So
yeah, absolutely. But even in my 20s, I don't remember like wanting a beer. I think I preferred just like a vodka mixed drink or
something.
Yeah,
like
just something cleaner. I'm not going to feel crappy in the morning. I can mix it with whatever or have some wine, but like never really liked beers. Like the taste to benefit ratio just never really added up for me. And then I guess like going to breweries, just hanging out, trying new beers, especially like when a local brewery popped up and that was, the place, the only place to hang out and,
the only place,
the only cool place to hang out. So then it's just like fun. I like trying new things. So craft beer's something that's kind of fun, more social.
Yeah.
And I like trying new, different, unique things. So
that experience type deal.
Same reason I'm interested in just the community
and Goat Ridge in particular is kind of what he's talking about here with like they had really good food at the time. And I was like the only like, you have family, you have a lot going on. And I was like, oh, you want to go get some beer? If there was some good food, good eats, it was an easy way to get a yes.
Well, it's definitely a place you can bring your family.
Yeah. Totally.
It's not like you could bring them to the local bar, local watering hole, and
So let's get in. So like making games, it's kind of started as a side hustle, and it still kind of is a side hustle. But get into the story of how do you even get into making games? Why games?
It all started with you, Brady.
Yeah, it all started to feed my ego here. It's like, oh, it's all about me. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
One eventful night, I think we were hanging out at my place. We were like masterminding. We were just hanging out and just talking about life and like where we were going, like what were we going to do with our creative pursuits. And you have your sweet pocket notebooks that you just fill to the brim. And you had this list, I think like 10 ideas, like cool ideas of something like a business to start or just something cool to do or create. And you just started reading them off and then all willy-nilly. I remember the moment you're just like, oh, a card game. Could make a card game. And I know it was just like one of the items in your list. And we had recently, I don't know, there was a hangout or something where we were at your place playing Exploding Kittens or something really simple.
Some game, yeah.
Whatever. And it was just, a fun like party game. And all of a sudden, like that just blew my freaking mind because at the time, I don't know. In my 30s, old man here, like
you're too
out
old
of my
to
20s.
create
and
things.
I loved card games as a kid. I loved games. Back in the day, we only had Risk and Monopoly, but I just liked cards and I liked anything you could do with cards. And I was like craving, I wasn't like super nerdy at the time. Like I didn't play D&D or anything else. I liked video games, but like, I don't know, there was something pulling, but there wasn't the thing yet, like there wasn't a Catan to like break open this new industry of games that there is now. And I've always loved card games and I've always loved games. And I played Magic the Gathering into my 20s. Yeah. And kind of got into drafting that and creating. And I remember now I actually created my own Magic set and like had it printed and like played it once with my friends. And it was, nice. I loved it. But like, I never thought that it was a possibility to make my own card game.
Man. It's funny. It was always kind of there. It just, you didn't have permission to do it almost.
Yeah, exactly. And that night with you writing that on your list, I like unlocked it. It was just really weird. It was just all of a sudden that could be a thing I could create.
How long ago was that?
A couple years ago.
Oh, okay. It was more than that. I bet even probably
2.5. We'll be gaming
2.5, 3, maybe
3.
It wasn't always a hugely attainable thing, but like now there's print on demand and there's all sorts of other ways to get games made.
Yeah.
Like you could always design a game and prototype it and play it with your immediate friends, but it wasn't until recently that you could really make a game and publish it and get it out there.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. There's a lot of things maybe we take for granted. A lot of these print on demand companies that pop up, even podcasting, it's easier than ever, or a lot of different things that it wasn't as easy back in the day.
Yeah, just channels to market something so that people are aware it exists, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. Yeah.
But it all started, our
You're
little
welcome.
mastermind.
I'm just kidding.
No, really, it did unlock it. And then like my brain was swirling ever since. And then I kind of got into just environments where that idea from that night just kept on coming up. And I would be hanging out with my nephew. Like he was hanging out at our house quite often at that time. And we would try to find constructive things to do, like screen time, non-TV time activities. And like we would just find ourselves making little games. And I would probably made tons of games with just him. And then all of a sudden, just in that atmosphere that just started brewing, I think one day at work, it just all of a sudden it hit me, that one stupid old card game, War. I liked that game as a kid, until you realize it sucks. It's just completely random. It's just this random card off the top, but it's just it had a fun kind of mechanic of like playing a hidden card. And then if you tie, you kind of have to double down and the highest power wins. It's simple. And all of a sudden it's just like, just the light shine down. And I had this little grid paper from one of our clients, a local construction company, is like Dunnick, and it, like all of a sudden, like, oh my god, I just War. I just started writing down these little things, and I love fantasy, right? Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. So I'm just like, okay, wizards, mages, whatever. And I remember the idea just came to my mind. One weekend, the weekend after, I just I got it prototyped up, played it with my nephew, and then just boom, I just from that moment on, it was so fun to create my own game and have this little idea of a thing that kind of worked. And I just ran with it.
Yeah. And you did. And it's been quite the journey, right?
Oh, I've never worked on something for so long. I'm one of those aloof creatives that I can start 100 things, but to finish something.
It's really hard to finish, right?
Oh.
Yeah. But you have finished. Right? I mean, you have the first version of the game complete.
So he's going on the home stretch here, at least for the first round.
Yeah, I'm at the 97% of finishing the longest 3% known to mankind.
So you're closing in.
We're pushing her to finish. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. What does finish look like here?
So that first card game that I call Wizards and Relics, I want to bring it to market. I want to professionally manufacture it and sell it online and have it for sale. So I am looking to crowdfund the first manufacturing run. So I'm launching on Kickstarter next month. When is this airing,
This
Brady?
is going to come out the day before it. Tomorrow, from the time this thing comes out. It's the 10th?
Yes.
November 10th,
Yep,
right?
November 10th.
The Kickstarter will be live, and you'll be able to pre-order the game.
Yeah, baby. Tomorrow we're launching the sucker on Kickstarter.
Nice.
And I'm looking to raise money to get it manufactured and get more engagement in it. And I've spent a couple years kind of building an audience and testing it and over testing it and revising it. And it's taken way longer than I expected, but it's been a fun process and journey. And I'm one of those those creatives that likes to try things, but when it comes down to it, I'm more of an artist than a businessman. So I kind of want to force myself to getting thrown into a situation where I have to do something. I have to make it happen. So doing a Kickstarter, I have to meet a lot of requirements. I have to do all the things. I have to get my act together. I have an LLC now. I'm I'm
legit.
trying to make it as legit as possible and then have accountability so I can follow through. And we're bringing it to the home stretch.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations. I'm excited.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
For the listeners, tell us, so you said it was a little bit like War. Who is this game for?
Yeah, it's a great question. I first and foremost, it was kind of to scratch my own itch for this accessible game that harkened to some nostalgia. But as a parent and as someone who, tends to be fairly, I have a lot of stuff I like to do. And so it's hard to play games that take a long time, right? Mm. And so this game, I think my number one target audience is me. It's that kind of millennial, maybe a dad, maybe not, but this person that loves like deep nerdy stuff. I like Magic the Gathering. There's a lot of video games I like. There's a lot of board games I like. I like getting nerdy and strategic. But at the same time, a lot of friends, I like to hang out with people. I like partying. I like party games. I like just including people and being inclusive, whether it's my spouse or it's a friend that doesn't play those types of strategic card games, like Brady. I want something accessible, but that still scratches my itch. But then you can also maybe play with some older kids, or you can play with your parents. And so this game, the first target audience is to be someone who is me. It's someone who likes those kind of nerdy games, but you can bring it home to Christmas. You can play it with your 8-year-old nephew. You can play it with your non-nerdy friend group, and it's an accessible game.
I think it's important that, if you're not interested in it, then, that's got to be the first kind of standard you have to meet. Like, I have to be proud of this. I have to play it. If I don't want to play it, then what does it really matter? So I think that's important.
And then that just makes it that much harder to bring something that far in this process to get it to market if you don't believe in it. Yeah, exactly.
I've heard a lot of that advice lately in different podcasts I've listened to, and I love it because there's like the practical talk, right? Where you have is it called a Venn diagram, right?
Sure.
The Venn diagram
with the multiple circles.
The circles, where you kind of it has to be practical and meet the target market, and people need to want it, but then you gotta it's got to be something you're passionate about or whatever. And I think there's a lot of emphasis on, appeasing people and giving something that people want. But I love that point because, you gotta have a fire for it. You gotta love it. So I don't know. I've just been experimenting with that. What do I like? And that's first, and then kind of sharpen that stone to okay, do other people like it? Is it objectively good? Is it meet the needs of other people too? But yeah, sure. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna.
Well, are we gonna play a full game of it, or?
Oh man, on the podcast. That might be kind of hard. We might have to do that after the fact and have just like a little.
I don't know if that'd be the most exciting.
What an auditory experience!
He's playing the mage card.
He's got +3.
We'll have to get a little a story of it after the fact or something like that, just to show kind of little mechanics and stuff. But and then we'll have links in the show notes to the Kickstarter and all that kind of
hallelujah.
Stuff. I'm going to be the first one. I'm going to buy it.
You're a man after my own heart.
Yeah. It's fun. I've played it. I played it a ton. I've seen this game evolve quite a bit. So the funny thing is, once he first started working on this thing, fairly early on, a couple of us buddies got together and we were working on this thing for a long time. And I was kind of the
voice of reason.
The voice of reason. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. And just because they could get a little out in the woods on things and get a little
too big for their britches,
too far
Absolutely.
into the unknown. I don't know, but
you brought us back. You brought us in. There were so many times where you're just like, really, guys, you're gonna do this? You're gonna make that change? And sometimes your feedback was hard to listen to because we want to design, we want to do new things and crazy things, and you honestly reeled us in quite a bit of times and made for. The game is a lot better because of your involvement, Brady.
You hear that?
I did. I heard that. I don't believe it. You're best friends, so what can I really believe about what you guys say about each other?
Exactly. But
that's good fun. Feedback. I have that same thing. I get a new idea. I get almost paralyzed with everything I want to do with it in the future that I don't do anything. And so it's I just have to do this one thing or else none of that other stuff matters.
Yeah.
So you have to scale back and make sure you can finish something. You know?
Yeah. And I think the other thing during that time, like I was trying to figure out who my tribe is or how to find community and the things that I enjoyed. And that's kind of when like Brady's Brews thing started. And so that's kind of why I stopped working on the game, was just I had all these things that I wanted to do that I was passionate about. And this was kind of his baby. And
do you mean Brady's Bikes and Brews?
Yeah, Bikes and Brews. Exactly.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. I remember talking to you, and when you first started Brady's Bikes and Brews, that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
You optimized. Got the bikes
I did.
Out of there. It was for the best.
Yeah,
but it was
the healthy part of the thing that got the cut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, but it's tough. It's tough to know what to work on, what to do. There's so many things, and with the internet, it just allows you so many different opportunities. And it's like, what do you focus on? What do you want to be doing? And that sometimes is a hard thing. So.
Oh yeah, it really is. I remember that time, and I think we were both struggling with that same, like, what do we do on? What do we double down on? I kept on getting distracted with all these other ideas I had. Like, do I work on my next coloring book? Oh, do I work on this other podcast idea, this blissful breakfast thing, or do I work on?
We'll get into that in a little bit here too. Yeah,
yeah, and then you were working on your stuff too, and it was a lot of fun to be working together. And sometimes it felt like we had two cooks in the kitchen. Like, I know we're both kind of that, like, that visionary. We have an idea, we want to carry it out and do it our way. And it was fun. It sucks now that we're not like working on a project together, but at the same time,
there'll be something someday.
We're already talking about a collaboration. Brew board game
for sure.
Stay tuned, guys.
Stay tuned.
This is going to be a big deal.
This is going to be good.
The biggest.
I'm super stoked about it. But
gotta love those collaborations.
Yeah, the collabs. But like it's exciting. Like, I remember when you pulled away from Wizards and Relics, and then you started really doubling down on the brew, and I just seen you since then. It's just like astronomical. Like, all of a sudden, boom, overnight beer influencer.
Overnight. No.
I can't even imagine the Instagram followers and engagement that you get, and all the connections, and executing a podcast, and that's been really cool to see. Yeah,
it's been interesting, I guess. But yeah, it's side hustles are hard. It's there's only so much time in the day, right? So but it's cool to see what you've like you found this thing, and now you followed through and you've gotten through it. Now you're to the Kickstarter. That's amazing. And that's only, well, when we're recording, that's only like a couple weeks away. And so
that's exciting.
It's really exciting. I can't wait to see it. Like, it's gonna work.
Yeah,
I believe in it, man.
Well, the fantasy is definitely real. Like, the people that did Cards Against Humanity, like, it's super simple game, like way more simple than what you've put together. Yeah, and that just went crazy. And Exploding Kittens, as you mentioned, like, board games and card games in general are just kind of in like a little renaissance period. But that also has meant that it's saturated. So there's a lot of competition, but I'm excited. I'm excited to play.
But I think the thing too is, like, people, they come up with ideas, they try these things. Like, you've put in the research, you put in the time, you've met with umpteen different people, you've gone to these different events. It takes a lot to create something and bring it to market. And a lot of people, they miss those steps. They just like, oh, I have a good idea. Yep. And then they try to like throw it out there, and you can't just throw it out there into the ether and expect it to take traction, right? I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So, and I think that for a lot of people that are into, like, they have a side hustle, they're trying to do different things. Like, there are so many opportunities and things that you need to kind of take the steps and do in order to have something be successful.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can make a game. We could sit down and make a game tonight, and that doesn't mean it's going to be fun. That doesn't mean it's going to be marketable. Doesn't going to mean it's going to be balanced. Doesn't mean it's anyone else is going to enjoy it other than us that night.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then that's all the intangible stuff, and then the tangible things around making a box and making the art and making the Kickstarter campaign. Like that's where all the real work comes into play.
Yeah, the actual hustle.
Oh yeah.
The late nights that you're pulling your hair out and you don't want to be doing it, but that's
for sure.
You gotta go through it.
I like that because it's excruciating and it's so exciting at the same time to kind of actually pick one thing and then just barrel at it. And for me, it was actually setting a deadline, and because I pushed stuff off and kind of tinkered here and made another game here or did
So
this
easy
there,
to tinker.
and then just kind of procrastinated my way into thinking that I was being productive. And then when I finally was able to get a Kickstarter date, and then all of a sudden the list shows up and it shows you all the things that you've been dicking around on. And so it is really fun to actually push something to the finish line and to the best of my ability do the work. Because I'm sure, you guys both know, like you have this list of things you could be doing or you should be doing. And you, even if you're working as hard as you can at this hustle, there's always something that you're missing or that you didn't do or you think you could do. But trying to do all the right things, and even if it's a goof or a flop, that's fine.
But that's how you learn something. Too. Exactly.
But it's exciting.
Exactly. Well, we'll get back to a little craft beer here quick. I know Ryan's slow on this beer, but what did you guys think of this beer? A little Talking Waters and Omni collab.
I thought it was really good.
Pretty
you don't
tasty,
see a lot
right?
of West Coast IPAs out there anymore, but
they're making a comeback.
Yeah,
kinda.
I mean, this one has that base, but it also has just a touch of fruitiness to it, which
it kind of hits the sweet spot in between still like kind of new school hops and things like that to give it kind of that bright kind of not what am I trying to say here?
I don't know.
Well, it's sweet enough to where it's not like super bitter and right? So
but it
I
still
guess
has
that's what I was trying to say.
That pininess, that West Coast.
Yeah, you could tell it's a West Coast. Yeah. What do you think of it, Bregel?
Oh, it makes me want to just hang out at the beach, get the fire going. I mean, I have a bias because I love these people. But
why do we live in Minnesota if you want to hang out at the beach? That's my question. Why don't we move to California?
We probably should, even though everyone's leaving California.
Yeah,
right
maybe
now.
Texas. Move to Austin like everyone else.
Everyone's going to Austin.
No beach in Austin either.
Yeah. I've never been, so I have no idea.
They have a river, but
snow's good too.
Snow's good too, yeah.
It's very drinkable. I didn't think about it. I'm someone who kind of inhales stuff, but like it was nice. It was refreshing, trendy, and drinkable beverage.
Yeah, I like it. What do you think of that design, Bregel? So for those that don't know, so Mike is a designer. He's a very good artist, and he's actually pretty good friends with the person that designed that can.
Oh yeah, Jamie's been crushing it, huh?
Yeah.
I love it. Jamie, you're amazing. You better be listening to this.
Oh, she will be. She will be.
Good. No, it's honestly gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's
it looks
classy.
awesome,
Where the set is, it's just perfectly on the horizon. I'm so impressed, Jamie. Oh my gosh,
looks good.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got next? I know you're still kind of finishing.
I'll finish up. So this is a Barista, is what the name of the beer is.
Barista
it's from Ursa Minor. It's a coffee milk stout at 5.8%.
Yes.
So we're all coffee fans. We're all beer fans. So this is right up our alley.
This is perfect.
I have a bad track record with pouring crawlers. So there's a high percent chance I'll spill everywhere.
Jesse does. He puts the tab down and he actually pours it
through the tab. I've tried that.
The opposite way. Does it not work? I've never tried it.
Sometimes, but
there you go. Look at that. That's perfect.
Look at that.
Shout out to Jesse on how to pour a crawler, I guess, right?
I do that sometimes, but it has its limits.
It has its limits.
Now
you can pour it regular.
I think you can pour it regular now. Yeah.
It's just once you get that initial blast out. But look at my hand. It's a podcast, but for the people on YouTube.
So that's a big, a little exciting bit there. You can watch this on YouTube now, guys.
Heck yeah.
You can actually see Bregel and his hand gestures and is very animated.
My obnoxious hand gestures.
You'll be able to actually see this.
Perfect.
This smells incredible. Right?
I was just literally going to say the same thing.
And it tastes incredible.
Tastes like, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's good. Tastes like coffee.
Ooh, tastes like cold brew.
Oh, I was just going to say, Ryan, a cold brew. Is
Cold
this
brew.
like, this is prime for you?
This is good stuff.
So we need to get into this a little bit here. So in the morning, I make warm coffee. Now Ryan seems to think it's okay.
Every morning
just
to wake up with a nice, relaxing, comforting, cold glass of cold brew.
Yes.
You know what I could use? A nice cold glass of coffee. Yes, I drink cold brew.
That could probably be cut. But anyway, I just thought that people needed to know that, how weird you are.
You're the editor, so you cut whatever you want.
I think it should stay in.
And I love that. Like, so one of the movies growing up that I was obsessed with and terrified of was
Never ending
E.T.
story. Oh,
No, I was a little too young for that. Although I did see it and it was good, but I wasn't like the prime age for that.
Was it Falcor the Luck Dragon? Was that
Yeah.
what it-
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a Treyu in there or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But E.T. was this thing where I was fascinated with it. And in the movie, he says before he's going to show his brother E.T., he says, "I have absolute power. Say it. So I always think of like my editing duties or these different things. I have absolute power.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. Insights. Too many insights.
Brady does like hey, just sent you the podcast. If you get me feedback. And then like an hour later, I posted it.
That is not how it goes.
Oh, I bet that's 100% how it goes.
He's so excited to release it. I'm like, dude, it's like I'm about to go to bed. Anyway, you can cut that too.
He's going to cut it all.
cut
Everything's getting cut.
Everything.
10 minutes.
10-minute episode.
No, but this is amazing to stay on this bunny trail because I feel like when we were doing Wizards and Relics, I'd be like, okay, I need to make a post. I need to get it out. And I'd send it to Brady. Okay, Brady, check it out. Like, what do you think? And Brady, you know, like he has a healthy relationship with social media. He doesn't check it ever. And then it's like,
That's true.
already posted it.
Yeah. I am one of those like I find it almost stresses me out. So I only will look at it like once or twice a day. So
It's more than me.
Yeah, but I mean like even like the chat end
Sure.
of it. So that's
Okay.
why
Yeah.
like you probably don't hear from me for a while because I just don't let myself go there because then it just takes away from my day, I guess, essentially. So
Do you turn off notifications?
I did for a while, but then I found like I got myself in trouble.
Okay.
So I just end up probably usually not seeing them for a while. But anyway, let's get back into the Briegs here.
Let's stay with this.
Yeah. Let's get into, so this is a craft beer show, kind of. We talked about that earlier a little bit. So Bregel is a designer, and we mentioned that, but he actually has a little craft beer design experience here.
Oh, yes, I do.
He forgot about it. So a few years ago, I think you worked with him maybe, or like had some relationship there where this guy was going to start a brewery and he asked you to do some design work. Could you share that experience?
Yeah, at an old job, I worked with Nick Heisinger, and he, he was doing it with his job, and it was fine. But he had a passion for like beer, and
He was like a home brewer, right?
Yeah, he brewed his own beer, and he would occasionally kind of have people over and try out his beer. And he had a bunch of stuff going on in his garage, and he eventually decided to just bring it to reality. Found a connection in Cuyuna. In what's the town next to Cuyuna? Brainerd.
Oh, it's by Brainerd, but it's a little bit further.
Something. Cuyuna.
By Cuyuna.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
What is it called? You
I'll look it up.
Look it up. And he made his dreams a reality, and he started Cuyuna Brewing. And I had the pleasure of working on the logo and just helping to get the look and the feel. And it was a lot of fun kind of digging into the history of the area and to really crafting something. Honestly, I'm really proud of it.
It looks awesome.
I love that design. I love working with them. I just love to see them just crush it in building a community, bringing a brick and mortar business and an environment that's awesome. I think I've only been there once, which is a travesty, but it's just really a beautiful place. And so, yeah, I'm thrilled to have been a part of that project.
Yeah, it's a cool logo. It's a fun like design, and it really encompasses the area. And I have yet to go. We had talked about going, and then
Brew Chat on the road.
Brew Chat on the road. We'll have to talk to him. That'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
But
we'll set it up.
Crosby.
There you go. Yep. Yeah. Cuyuna Crosby. Yeah. So for the YouTube watchers, you can see the logo. We'll put that in the show notes as well. That's a sweet design. Turned out really good. So you have a little bit of a craft beer.
A little bit in my blood, in my heritage.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I belong here.
You belong here. Yes.
You're creative.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of like the carryover between craft beer is like craft beer is such a creative thing. And I think like there's a story to be told there. And there's a lot of overlap in side hustles and creative endeavors, really. Right.
Yeah.
So.
And just to tie it back, like we talked about, like doing something with your board game or card game that you're interested in, that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Brady and I are passionate about talking about people doing creative things in different industries.
Exactly.
So like that's what we want to do. So craft beer is involved. It's like an undercurrent. I kind of see it as.
It doesn't have to be the main focus all the time.
Yeah. So I think if we're interested in it, then that hopefully comes through in the enthusiasm on the podcast and other people are interested in it.
The other thing too is I feel like a lot of the people that listen to the show are into creative endeavors and making things and turning, like whether it is Instagram or whether it's photography or any of those things, those creative pursuits, and even just like how to turn them into actual like reality, something that you're doing that's even more than a side hustle. So I think it's fun to hear people's stories and how they got into things and how they've created them into something.
And so many craft breweries they were entrepreneurs. They were home brewers and whatever. They had a passion.
Like the basis of it, like really they are entrepreneurs.
Almost all of them, almost all craft breweries are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And successful ones. They have employees and all that, but at the heart, it's a creative industry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's just their medium.
Yeah.
Of creating art. Yeah. I love that.
Exactly. So you went to Cuyuna. What did you think of the brewery?
Oh my gosh. I had the best Reuben sandwich of my entire life. It was amazing. It was just fun to check out.
So they have food there or just in town, or?
I'm honestly trying to remember right now whether I think they collaborated with someone in town to bring it in. But it made for an amazing
great experience. Yeah.
But there's so much going on, so much happening. Yeah, it'd be a great place for you guys to check out and chat with them. And they're so fun, and the beer tasted legit, and it just there's a lot going on. It's a really like strong community, and it has ties in with the bikes. There's lots of beautiful biking trails up there. Mm-hmm. There's a sweet coffee shop down the road. It's like a tight-knit, glorious place in Minnesota that has it all.
Nice. All right, we have a review. This one comes in from Brad. He says, "Great podcast. Whether you like craft beer or the connections from around the community, this podcast rounds it all out. Easy listen and down to earth with what's local. Thank you so much for reviewing the show, Brad. Let's get back to our guest." Well, Briggs, Kickstarter is going to be, when this comes out, it will be tomorrow. Sounds kind of crazy saying, but is there anything we didn't anything you want to say or anything we didn't touch on?
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. Again, such an open-ended question. I could ramble on about a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, you had asked me, like, what's my main target market? It's the me type of person. But, it's also for, it might also be for families, for a game for perhaps older people or moms that have kids that play D&D and want to connect. And, I remember working on this game with you, Brady, and we had this kind of theme of home, of connecting. And, a part of the story of when I made Wizards and Relics was, my wife and I were like young parents, and we had a kid, and we had sort of entered in this hermit life, and we kind of isolated ourselves. And, I love how this kind of ties into the craft beer, because, beer brings people together. And this game actually helped us bring us together with our friends and with you and with other friends that we kind of isolated because we were just, going through all the stuff, losing sleep and feeling like it was just really hard to hang out with people. And when I got the idea for this and I got people involved, I got our friend Adam involved. He came over, he started designing it, got you involved, other people. We kind of had people over all the time. We were just doing this thing. And it honestly helped us like overcome our isolation at the time. And this is kind of a tangent, but it's a little bit of the origin story that like it help our friend group kind of just get a little closer, helped us to get in. And I think just that spirit of community, whether it's craft brewing or this particular creative project, I think it's worth mentioning because it honestly was just something that like helped our life move forward, whether or not this game is a success or not. It was just like something that brought us out of the dungeon.
Yeah. Maintaining social connections. And that's difficult as you grow older. Keeping those alive and like hanging out with people. Like
when you realize you got to like schedule hanging out on the calendar or it doesn't happen.
Like, when you're in high school, like that was unfathomable. Like just hang out whenever and
absolutely.
All the time.
Now you're in your 30s and you got kids. Everyone's got kids, and it's like, we have to like get on people's calendars if you want to hang out. It's difficult.
What's your favorite beer style? Do you have a favorite beer style? I don't even know this about you.
Yeah, 100%. I guess I've never referred to it as a style. That's new. But I prefer stouts and porters.
Okay, dark beers. Gotcha.
I like dark beers. I like the darkest of the darks. I would like to think I'm an IPA guy because I like dry wine, and IPA is one of those.
Some of them.
You got to get used to it, but I honestly don't. I'll drink them, and I enjoy them if they're different. I like new things. So I like new IPAs. Otherwise, I'll always go back to the stout.
Fair enough. All right. Mm-hmm.
What style of beer most describes you as a person?
Holly asked the best questions. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Now, does Bregel know enough about styles of beer? Is probably the biggest?
No, absolutely not. I'm paralyzed by that question. Does that just mean the main archetypes of sours and IPAs?
It can be that high level.
Yeah.
Some people go really deep, but for you, it can be high level.
Oh man, deep. I want to hear about the deep. I want the tutorial. What's a deeper than that?
Well, some people will talk about
fruity notes.
If they're a sour, they'll be with tangerine and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I think I said imperial fruited sour. So you don't have to get that deep.
I can make up nonsense words like that. Okay, let's see here. I want a earthy,
double fruited.
Yeah, it's gonna be an earthy cacao stout.
Okay,
I don't know if that makes sense.
Pastry stout.
Yeah,
sure.
Pastry stout.
Why?
Well, I'm a hippie, so I think anything earthy, anything dark, that's more, I don't know, grounded in, at least in the illusion of my brain of a darker beer, something that's an earthy flavor. I don't know. It's grounded in the earth, and I dig stuff like meditation and breathing, and I'll hug a tree here and there, and all that good stuff. So I don't know.
Just feels right.
Honestly, it feels right. Like walking onto the grass with bare feet. That's what I want my beers to taste like.
Okay. I suppose you could do that with a stout, although that can be tricky because
I'd say Scotch ale.
Scotch ale.
That's what I would say.
All right.
If you're going earthy, Scotch
otherwise,
ale.
I was going to say there are some some IPAs that are very earthy, right?
Sure.
Especially if like the hops haven't really like they're pretty.
You can go with like an English style IPA.
Yeah, I mean there's I suppose a few things that would work for that, but now we're getting too far into the weeds. That's good. Well, I like that. He likes stouts. He's an earthy stout. Right?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Okay, so we've been talking about side hustles. You got the game going. We're on a podcast. You get into, you basically have a podcast of your own, but it's only in video form, not quite on podcast yet.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about, it's called the Blissful Breakfast with Bregel.
I've always been someone who digs into the esoteric. I love searching the cosmos for the mysteries of the universe. I like weird stuff that you can't explain. I like spontaneous healings. I like just mystical, supernatural, weird stuff. And that's led me to just an outlook on life. And maybe that's just my natural demeanor, but of just
It's also kind of a philosophy.
Having joy. Right. My mom was a very positive person. She had a very hard life, but and died too young. But she had this joy of connecting people. She would always find the positive, even to a fault. She would find a positive in people, and she would kind of bring this energy. Even if she didn't have anything, she gave the world. And I'm really inspired by her. And so the essence of my being is to just, how can we have more fun? What's the silver lining? How can we just have a better outlook on life? How can I enrich someone's life today? And all of a sudden, the culmination of years worth of research and note taking and meditation and digging into just mystical experiences just led me to I should maybe I can help people. I've been in enough circumstances of talking with people and giving advice and helping people to be more positive and just blessing people in different ways that all of a sudden, okay, maybe this could be a thing. Maybe it could be a podcast. Maybe I could spread that out. And I don't think I've put myself in a position to share a lot of those things. Things that are circulating in my brain. So I think just taking the initiation to put it out into the world, just all of a sudden dawned on me. It all of a sudden came bursting out. I think last year. I think this is in the midst of working on Wizards and Relics, and then finding something else to work on because the work got too hard.
Yeah.
And then in one weekend, I recorded 3 episodes of this new podcast that I just invented, based off a few conversations and whatnot. And I called it the Blissful Breakfast with Bregs. And I had this weekend of inspiration. I, recorded it, edited it, and then I tested it and I shared it one episode on Facebook, just got some feedback, got a lot of good input. And then okay, I can record this in 15 minutes. I can do it every morning. I'm going to wake up at 5. I'm going to do my meditation. And then at 6 o'clock, I'm going to record an episode. I'll have it edited by 7. And then I get my daughter out of bed. And then I can still work on Wizards and Relics in the evening. And, I had this master plan of making it work. And then, of course, life happens. And it just didn't work. And it wasn't the right time. And then recently during
It was really COVID that
during
started all this, right?
The quarantine of COVID, the first round in early summer,
March,
whatever.
I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's when it initially started for the most part.
April, May. So I think in May, I recorded this video. I remember having a conversation with friends who were kind of just getting worked up about the state of the world. And I sort of just said, had some words to share with them, and they're just oh man, you should get the Blissful Breakfast going. And they probably said it as a joke or whatever, but all of a sudden it just hit me. It was oh,
I should.
And the next day I just got it going, and it was, I just had something burning in my soul that had to get out. And there's a lot of areas in my life that I'm a perfectionist, in my craft, in my art. If I'm doing a drawing, if I'm designing something, it's got to be perfect. And I honestly, for my day job, I do professional video production and post-production and sound. I can make stuff look and sound perfect. But I had committed myself to only working on one thing, my card game, like not doing any other side projects, any side hustles, any distractions. So I'm just like, what do I do? But I like had to do this thing. I felt like it was just like coming out of my soul. There's so many people in the world freaking out. There's a lot of fear going on. There's a lot of unrest. And like, you know, I just felt like I had to produce one more thing of positive content to put out on Facebook or whatever social channel. And so I just did it. I just started doing Instagram lives because at the time everyone was doing Instagram lives. Okay, I'll do Instagram live. I'll download it and then I'll post it on Facebook and then I'll be on my day. And I just got it rolling.
And how many days in a row did you do that? I mean, you were on a pretty good streak, I think.
Yeah, I did it every day for a month at least. That was my goal. Like, okay, I'm going to do this every day. I did it for a month. And then I didn't hold myself accountable to that anymore. And I did it every day for a while after that. And then kind of started spacing it out as I felt.
You did for a while at least. Yeah. You're not quite to the Pat Flynn level yet.
Not yet.
I think he's like on day... I don't even know, like 150 or something.
Wow, that's his
live
job,
every day. So. No, I know, but he's going live every day.
Sure, I mean,
come on, Brady.
Kind of what
get
doing,
to his
like,
level. Come
Flynn
on.
level.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's really cool, and
that's awesome.
It's basically just giving a little nugget of positivity to start your day, essentially, right?
Yeah.
To check that out, where can I find that?
Oh man, you can find it on my Instagram, the Briggs, or my personal Facebook page, Michael Frederick Bregel,
and eventually on a podcast, right?
And yeah, like it curates itself. I will put it on a podcast eventually. It's just a matter of finding the time to curate it. Yep.
I mean, I think it's important to have. It's like a relief valve. It's like you have this creative pursuit that's like your main focus, but like. I have the same thing where I'm like, I need something else that like I can just like do fast. That's like a relief valve on like getting something out there while I'm working on other things.
The bigger,
So I think that's important. I think a lot of people that would resonate with them. Like, I got to just make something else. I've been doing everything for this, and there's no like, I mean, there's an end game, but there's no like end in sight. I need to create something and get it out there in the world. I think that's probably what you're feeling.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, Ryan. That actually puts that in perspective. I feel like we all have multiple skill sets and passions, right? And so to have to choose one thing is kind of difficult. So I feel like, you're totally right. We all have something else that we just have to do, just like breathing. Like, it's something we're interested in. We don't care if it becomes a thing, but like, got to do that. Got to let it out. I like that. Yeah. Thanks for validating that.
No problem. I'm an enabler.
He's an enabler. Yeah. Don't worry about the game. Just work on this thing and this thing and that thing.
Worm tongue whispering.
Anything we didn't ask you?
You didn't ask me how much it cost to back on Kickstarter. No, just kidding.
Yeah, how much is it?
No, it's
how much shit do I have to know?
Any stretch goals?
There's going to be some things. There's some details I haven't ironed out, but. We have some promo cards lined up. We have some fun choose your adventure lore that's going to go with the game that we're going to release. We want to make like a magnetic box and make it, feel more premium. So there's going to be some stretch goals, but we haven't dialed in that exactly. But
cool.
Yeah, the base game will be $25
and you'll be able to, the link will be,
you can go to wizardsandrelics.com.
Okay, so that'll get
you to the right place.
Yeah, wizardsandrelics.com.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But there will be a Kickstarter URL that I am
that will go live
of.
there.
Yes,
at when it's ready.
Yep.
Right?
Any special deal for Brew Chat listeners?
Oh,
I'm just
kidding.
Yeah,
25% off.
Yeah, I'll give you guys.
Take all the margin away.
Yeah. Sinks the whole thing.
Yeah,
because too many Brew Chat listeners supporting.
Exactly. They'll be all flooding there. So don't worry.
No, I have to give you props. This is a major effort. I've wanted to make my own board game. I've dreamt of doing Kickstarter board games for like 5 years, and you're doing it. Totally respect all the work that went into it. So
yeah, there's been a lot of work that's gone into this, and I've seen it firsthand. And I think it's so cool to see it finally get to this point. Like, I know how much effort's been put into it and time and the people around it. And you've done all the right things of, going to different events and talking with people that have done it. And I don't know, I think that's just really cool to use experience and use knowledge and do the right things. I don't know. I think that's really cool.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Brady. It's fun to see it this far. And appreciate you guys having me on here to chit chat, talk a little beer, talk a little creative endeavors. And
absolutely. But before we take off, what's last notes on this Ursa Minor coffee beer?
I need more.
Super.
There's literally not enough of it. It's
very heavy on the coffee notes,
which is
great.
Fantastic.
I love that. Some of my favorite beers are super coffee heavy.
Yeah. This sits right there. This is, if we go back to the good old days of rating, this would be a touch above a solid 4.
We're not going to do that though. I said when I joined the podcast, I said no more rating.
No more rating.
Oh yeah.
Can't do
stipulations.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
All right. So Kickstarter links will be in there. You go to wizardsandrelics.com. Where's the best place for people to interact with you, Bregel?
Oh my goodness. You can find me on Instagram at the Briggs. My publishing company is Eternal Realms, at the Eternal Realms on Instagram as well.
Okay.
You can also find us hanging out on Facebook.
Good old
we have a beautiful
Facebook
group that you got to be a part in. If you want to take part in influencing some decisions and be a part of the development and future of this game, we have a fun Facebook group. So,
and what is that Facebook group called?
I don't have the URL, Brady. If you
link will be in the show notes
at the Eternal Realms on Facebook, you'll be able to see the link for the Facebook group. So,
gotcha. It'll be in the show notes.
It's a good time.
So. Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Oh my gosh, it's been an honor. Hope this is just part 1.
Well, there'll be more. There'll definitely be more
when we make our own game.
Oh, dude. Yes, I'm super stoked. Let's start designing that
when
sucker
the collaboration
tonight.
Comes out. Sounds good.
I'm excited too.
All right. Well, this was a Brew Chat. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to the show or watching. You can now watch the show on YouTube. A couple of things before you take off. It would mean the world to us if you would rate and review the show. That helps us get found. And 2, head over to brewchatpodcast.com and join the BC crew. We're trying to build a community around this thing, and we would love to have you there. Thanks for everything. Please stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.